There are three plants that I grow every year that never fail me. These three plants, they grow even when we're experiencing really cold springs like we are this year. Right now it's only like 34 degrees out here, and I can still depend on these plants being okay. They don't mind the little bit of frost. They definitely don't mind the cold. So if you want to know what these plants are, let's get in the greenhouse and find out. Hi, welcome to God in the Greenhouse. I am Nicola, and I'm so happy you made it. Today's a pretty cold day here in northern Michigan. Outside it's only like 32 degrees, and in here, let me see. Oh yeah, we're looking at like 44 degrees maybe. Yeah, it's pretty chilly. But the three plants I wanted to talk to you guys about today, they don't mind the cold, just like most of us northern Michiganders don't. You gotta like the cold to live up here. It'll be cold until about the middle of June, and that's why I love to grow the three plants I want to talk about, because they never fail me, even with these exceptionally cold springs that we get here. And also, when I was a starter gardener, I grew these three plants with hardly any knowledge. I also was able to grow them without hardly any intervention, and they basically grew on their own and even made it through some pretty heavy frosts. So these three plants being the snap sugar pea, lettuce, and the great awesome potato. Those three are great staples in anyone's garden, especially starter gardens. Even if you only grew those three plants, you would still have an abundance of extra veggies for throughout your whole year, and you'll be so proud of yourself and happy with yourself that you grew something. So I'm going to start with the sugar snap pea, because that is actually the easiest in my opinion and one of the tastiest in my opinion. Now these plants grow super fast and super easy, and they love the cold. So if you start them in your earliest spring, they are going to grow great for you. This year I put around 500 of them all around my entire garden. I thought that maybe the squirrels and the chipmunks had gotten to most of my plants because it was taking a little bit of time for them to sprout, but it must have just been a little too cold for them, because finally when we hit these 30 to 40 degree weather, and then now into the 50s, they are all sprouting, and it looks like at least 450 of the 500 have survived. So we're going to have a lot of sugar snap peas here on our homestead. Yay. Now all I did was literally open the package of seeds, pick where I wanted them to grow, and put them in the ground. I don't amend any soil. I don't buy anything special for them. They literally are one of the easiest plants I've ever grown. You can grow them in containers. You can grow them in your regular garden along the fence. You can make a trellis for them. We made a bean and pea teepee for our beans and the peas to grow up, and that is so much fun, and the kids love to play hide and seek in it, and the chickens love to hang out in the shade in it in the summer. So there's a lot of awesome things you can do with peas. Sugar snap peas are literally just packed full of so many nutrients, so many vitamins. You can't go wrong with this delicious vegetable. They have an awesome crunch to them and a very nice sweet flavor. So I highly recommend the sugar snap pea, especially if you live in the colder climates and are new at gardening. You will love this veggie. The second plant I want to talk about is lettuce. Lettuce is super easy to grow, and there are so many different kinds of lettuce that you can grow. You have buttery texture kind of lettuces. You have the hardy ones like the romaine lettuce. You have the in-betweens like the icebergs. There's just such a variety. Anyone can grow it. Lettuce is one of the foods that we eat in almost every single meal. So we definitely save a lot of money growing lettuce. When you buy lettuce seeds, you get like thousands at a time. So it actually does pay off to grow it yourself. We definitely all need lettuce in our lives because it's packed full of potassium and iron. You have other nutrients like vitamin A, C, and K, especially in the darker greens like the romaine lettuces. Lettuce is super easy to grow. You can grow it straight from the seed, and you can even grow it from supermarket scraps. So you can't go wrong with lettuce. I start my lettuce in a bigger container and I leave it here in the greenhouse. I also put some out in the regular garden and in my raised bed garden. I grow it in a couple places just to make sure that I get a good harvest of lettuce, because we eat lettuce with almost every single meal that we eat here. So it's a pretty big staple food for us, and it saves us a lot of money to grow it on our own, especially because lettuce will grow in almost any medium you try to grow it in. So here in the greenhouse, I have it in like a potting soil in a container, and then out in the garden, I'm actually growing it in sand. And then out in the raised bed, that's more of like a mix of the potting soil and a sand medium. So I really give the lettuce the best of all the worlds, and they all grow really well. There's not really a spot that it grows any better. It's just, if critters get it in one spot, I know that, hey, I got lettuce growing in a couple other spots, so I don't have to really worry about my harvest getting messed up too much, because like I said, we eat lettuce a lot here, so that is a very important one for us. In northern Michigan, it stays pretty cold for pretty long, so we need to grow veggies that are okay with getting a light frost all the way until around Father's Day, about the middle of June. So lettuce is great for that. It definitely doesn't mind the cold. I think it thrives better in the cold. So that is it's really a no-fail kind of plant, especially for beginner gardeners. You can grow it in a container if you want. You can start it in the house. If you live in an apartment, it's great to grow on the balcony. You can also grow it in your windowsill. You don't need a lot, because you can trim the leaves and eat it as it grows, and you can have a perpetual lettuce plant if you do it right. If it goes to seed, hey, you got free lettuce for the rest of your life, honestly. So I do highly recommend starting lettuce. Even if it's the only thing you do grow, you will be so happy you started it, especially when you taste how fresh it is when you grow it yourself. It is so amazing, the difference of flavor, and it's packed with a lot more nutrients when you grow it yourself. Third plant I wanted to talk about is the awesome potato. Now potatoes, those are definitely a staple in everyone's diet. We all love French fries, right? Baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, roasted potatoes. You can make a potato even into bread. You can make potato desserts. There's so many things you can do with a potato. You really can't go wrong with growing it yourself. You will be so happy you tried, because this plant will not fail you. You put a potato into the dirt, you cover it, you water it, and literally within a couple weeks it'll sprout through the dirt, start growing for you, and in only a couple weeks after that, you got yourself a whole meal of potatoes just from that one potato. It's so awesome. And they don't mind a little bit of cold as well. They don't like a heavy frost, but as long as you're waiting till, you know, when you're closer to your end frost date, I wait until now. We are still going to experience some like 33-degree mornings. Maybe it'll go down to the 20s here or there, but that's so seldom. I just go and cover them with a blanket if I need to. But yeah, I start them around the middle of May, and then I get a nice early harvest. I do container potatoes early. I feel like that dirt stays warmer and I can cover it better with a frost blanket if need be. So potatoes are awesome because, yeah, they can be grown in so many different ways and so many different mediums. I grow my potatoes just like I grow the lettuce in a couple different areas in the garden. I grow some in a container, I grow some in the ground, and I also grow some in a closed off area that I have packed full of just straw. So potato really is a plant that won't fail you. It is super easy to grow, and with one potato you can get up to like 5. I've even seen 7 and 10 little baby potatoes growing from one potato plant, just one. And you can grow them straight from the grocery store. So they're not always the best plants though, I'll tell you that. The grocery store scrap plants aren't always the best because you have to remember they're not coming from the best kind of plants. The best kind of plant to regrow is something that you grew on your property in the first place, because that plant then is acclimated. It's used to your surroundings, it's used to your environment, it's used to the dirt, things like that. So you're going to have a better chance of growing things that you have already grown. Saving your own seeds is another one. But let's not get off topic. We're talking about potatoes. So yeah, potatoes packed full of awesome nutrients, very easy to grow. Potatoes will grow for you throughout the whole growing season. If you start them early, you can literally get a end of June harvest. This year, since I'm not starting mine until now, because it is a colder spring this year, I probably will have to wait until the end of July to get an early harvest. But hey, July is always great for baked potatoes, especially cooking them over the fire, right? So yeah, those 3 plants, sugar snap pea, lettuce, and potato, you can't go wrong growing. They sure are a no-fail type of plant. All 3 of them don't mind a little bit of frost. They don't mind being ignored a little here and there. So if you're a first-time gardener, if you just don't have a green thumb, I promise you, if you try all 3, any of these 3, you will have good results and you will be happy with yourself. If you have any questions, if you have any tips or tricks that you want to share with everybody else, please don't be afraid to leave a comment below. It's always good to learn from each other. And if you have any questions, I will always try to answer them the best I can. Like I say, we can always learn together. So please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you're returning, I really thank you so much for watching and sticking with me. Like I always say, do things through God, because doing things through the Lord, it brings abundance and happiness in your life. And with that abundance and happiness, you can share and shine on to others. And that's what's really important in life, sharing God's love and sharing all the goodies and awesomeness, because God does provide. So I thank you all so much for being here today. I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.